There have been many various Freddy Fazbear's pizza locations that we see throughout the games and the books, with even some different types of restaurants and even off-brand ones. But I'm here to discuss the first location. I don't mean Fredbear's, I mean the First Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where a lot of the major events happened. Like the previous location deep dives that I did, I will go through the location itself, the many various attractions, and what happened in it for it to close. The First Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was opened in 1983. It was opened by Henry Emily and William Afton after the success of Fredbear's and the TV show, with its accompanied merchandise. Unlike the diner, Freddy's was a much bigger location with more games, attractions, and actual animatronics that aren't spring suits. Since the success of Fredbear's gave Henry more money to make actual animatronics rather than the cheaper way of making spring suits. Now let's look at the location layout first. The layout is basically just the FNaF 1 location. Why? Because we see in the FNaF 3 minigames that the FNaF 1 location has a safe room with the original Spring Bonnie inside. We know by the time of FNaF 2, safe rooms were discontinued and will never be made again. So why would the FNaF 1 location have a safe room? It's because it's an older location, and having the Spring Bonnie suit inside the safe room tells us that this is the location where the MCI happened, which happened in the First Freddy's. And also in FNaF 2, Phone Guy mentions the metal doors in the previous location, which we know only exists in the FNaF 1 location. So now that we know that the First Freddy's opens twice, I will split this video into two parts. The first part, which is this video, I will cover its first opening and its first closure. Then in part 2, I will cover the location again during the time of FNaF 1. Alright, so now that's out of the way, let's see what the location contained. There's of course the main stage with the gang, the dining area, Pirate's Cove, a prize corner, which we see in Help Wanted, a ball pit, arcades, and probably a carousel as well. Alright, for the employees there is the parts and services, supply closet, the kitchen, the safe room, which is used by the employees to wear the costumes, and of course, the office with the metal doors. The characters that were used in the location were Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, Foxy the Pirate Fox, and the security puppet. More on him in a bit. As time passes after its opening, Freddy's becomes very successful, even more so than Fredbear's. But of course, tragedy strikes. William over time became jealous of Henry's skills and his ability to make the fantasy and fun truly come to life. William respected him for this, but he also hated him for it. Over time, this feeling of jealousy would rise and build up. So in one rainy night in 1983, William, possibly drunken with rage, possibly went to Freddy's to confront Henry, or maybe Henry asked William to go check on Charlotte or something. Anyways, William with his purple car arrives at Freddy's and sees his chance to truly hurt Henry. Charlotte was locked out of Freddy's by some bullies. The security puppet, built to protect Charlotte, tries to get to her, but the bullies were able to stop it. So while Fazbear was entertaining the kids, William strangles Charlotte and kills her. He throws her body away and drives off, satisfied. The security puppet escapes his prison and tries to get to Charlotte. The rain damages it, but it reaches its target. It crumbles next to her, lifeless, like her. But Charlotte's determination made her refuse to die, and lying next to her was her new vessel. So now let's discuss what a lot of you might be thinking. But Charlie died at Fredbear's, not Freddy's. Well, I don't think she did. How about I show you why she most likely died at Freddy's? First off, this guy is 100% Freddy. He has the same color as the Gift's Freddy head. And no, just because we only see Freddy in this minigame doesn't mean he's the only character in the location. Foxy also has a minigame where it's just him. So if we go by that logic, Foxy Go 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 is in a different location because we don't see the other characters. What about the cupcake? You forget that it's a minigame. The cupcake isn't the same as Chica's. You actually give the cake to the children. It's not a prop, it's actual cake. And yes, I'm aware that Charlotte dies at Fredbear's in the novel trilogy, but here's the thing. Her death is completely different from her game counterpart, unlike the 5 missing kids. I think Scott just wanted the reason for Fredbear's to close in the novels, because the crying child doesn't exist in it. Alright, what else? You have the kids in the security puppet minigame wearing 3 different colored bracelets, blue, pink, and yellow. And since green is security puppet's color, the other 3 could be for different characters. And if it's Fredbear's, there would only be Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, which only leaves 1 extra bracelet color. But if it's Freddy's, the colors align with the eyes of the gang. Blue, Freddy, pink, Bonnie, yellow, Foxy. See? Rant over. Let's now continue. Henry most likely stores the security puppet somewhere in the building, since it doesn't have a purpose anymore. In one of my other videos, I speculated that Henry likely left after 1985, but now I don't think so. I think he left right after the death of his daughter and the closure of Fredbear's. Anyways, Henry then sells the brand to new owners and leaves. The new management calls themselves Fazbear Entertainment. William, however, takes a step back from Freddy's and starts working on his new business, Afton Robotics. After a couple of months in '83, Fazbear Entertainment then starts opening various Freddy's all around America, aka sister locations. In 1985, Fazbear Entertainment creates a new line of robots called the Mimics. The Mimics would be placed in a hidden spot in the locations and observe the robots performing to mimic their movements. That would make programming animatronics much cheaper and faster for Fazbear's, as the Mimics would just learn how to perform and then be used in the future. In June of 1985, Fazbear Entertainment decides to reuse the Fredbear and Spring Bonnie characters in their locations. The original Fredbear and Spring Bonnie from Fredbear's are sent to the First Freddy's. Fredbear was probably renamed into Golden Freddy because of the bite of '83. More spring suits were built for the other locations.
Right now we have 2 specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and suit.
William would use the original Spring Bonnie suit to lure Susie by telling her that her recently deceased dog is still alive. He leads her into the safe room in the late hours of operations. Chica was also in the safe room. William takes off the Spring Bonnie suit and stabs Susie. Then he stuffs her in the Chica animatronic. Because of the wiring and servos that are in the suit, Susie would die in the suit, her spirit still lingering in the animatronic, but she couldn't move it or control it. She could only watch. The use of the spring suits would shortly backfire, since they were too dangerous to use.
There's been a slight change of company policy concerning use of the suit. Don't.
Many Springlock incidents occur in many Freddy's locations, injuring their employees but not killing them. Because you have to remember, Springlock incidents doesn't mean immediate death. Even in the novel trilogy, William survived the Springlock incident, and it only left him scarred. Anyways, the banning of spring suits doesn't stop William from using the Spring Bonnie suit again. On June 26th, on the night of Gabriel's birthday party, William lures a kid named Jeremy to the safe room and stuffs him in the Bonnie animatronic. Then moments before the location closes, he lures the birthday boy to the backstage and kills him, stuffing him in the main mascot himself. William was almost caught because of this. Management notices the Spring Bonnie suit has been moved.
And under no circumstance should a customer ever be taken into this room and out of the main show area. Management has also been made aware that the Spring Bonnie animatronic has been noticeably moved.
In July, William uses the Spring Bonnie suit again to kill a kid named Fritz. He stuffs him in Foxy. Fazbear notices the same activity again. They decide to seal the safe room to hide all evidence from the police.
This is just to inform all employees that due to budget restrictions, the previously mentioned safe rooms are being sealed at most locations, including this one.
The Spring Bonnie suit is now locked behind the safe room. But William becomes more bloodthirsty, as evident by the high school Chica cutscenes, where Chica becomes more brutal and aggressive toward her victims, and she wanted more.
I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll just go to his house. And if he doesn't open the door, I'll just find a window. Chimney's always an option. Or I could set the house on fire and wait for him to run out. Then he could run into my arms.
William still had a spring suit he can use. He wears the original Golden Freddy and lures a little girl named Cassidy. The souls of the previous kids tried to stop him, but they couldn't move. They could only twitch and act irrationally, but they failed. William kills Cassidy and stuffs her in the Golden Freddy suit. But since the safe room was sealed, William was caught on camera using the Golden Freddy suit. The police arrests him, but is let go for lack of evidence. As you saw, I used the death of Michael Brooks from the Silver Eyes as a reference to Cassidy's death, because, why not? It doesn't really affect anything if I did. Alright, just for fun, let's add Andrew in the mix. Why not? Still in July, William, now bloodthirsty more than ever after being released, finds a kid to kill.
Look at that snout. Looks aren't everything. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I'll just wait for him after school, throw a bag over his head, hit him with a shovel, and drag him into the back of my car.
He finds a kid wearing an alligator mask named Andrew. Andrew was the type of kid that would always act up or talk back to a teacher. William kidnaps the kid outside and takes him to Freddy's and stuffs him in a spare Golden Freddy suit. Not the same one that Cassidy was stuffed into, possibly setting off the spring locks on Andrew to kill him. But William was sloppy. He wouldn't realize it yet, but Andrew's spirit didn't attach itself into the Golden Bear suit, but rather himself. Andrew would lay dormant for a long time, looking for the right time to get his revenge. The reason Andrew wasn't reported as one of the missing children is because no one knew he died at Freddy's. He was taken outside of the establishment, and his disappearance was quickly forgotten about. William then leaves town and works more on his own company.
Dear Diary, things didn't work out as I'd hoped, and once again I'm left with nothing but a broken heart. But tomorrow is another day, and I just know that there's a guy out there that's right for me.
The puppet then reawakens. She senses the spirits that are trapped in the robots, unable to move on or do anything. The puppet manipulates the kid's remnant to be able to give the spirits more control. She gives life to the characters, and the kids are now more angry and vengeful than the puppet. The animatronics now move in the night, looking for revenge. The reason William killed the kids is either because to make the animatronics come to life, like the puppet, and help him cheat death and become immortal, or maybe he killed them because he's just insane and likes to feel powerful, like we see on the Silver Eyes, and the robots coming to life would be a part of his sick fantasy of having a perfect family. The death of the 5 kids would be felt in a plane of existence called the flip side, where the soul of the bite victim resides. Because of these events, the flip side would be corrupted, and it was up for the Fredbear plush and bite victim to fix it by placing the pieces and finding them. The mimic would start mimicking something they weren't intended to mimic. That would cause them to play a game of hide and seek that would lead to awful results. So Fazbear discontinues the mimic line and removes them from all of the locations. The kids would infect the restaurant with a lot of agony after their death. Most of that agony would be contained in the ball pit, creating a truly evil creature. Months passed, and still, no one knew that the bodies were stuffed in the robots. As a result, the bodies would decompose inside the suits. After a couple of months, the robots would start smelling like death. Blood and mucus would also ooze from them. Fazbears would constantly get threats of closure due to sanitation. Fazbear would slowly lose popularity. Either in 1986 or early 1987, Freddy's would close down, along with all of its sister locations. The old gang were sent to a new location to possibly be reused. while the spare Golden Freddy suit that housed Andrew's corpse would be sent to a different location that was closed and abandoned, to be forgotten about. But it wouldn't be the last time the First Freddy's location was used. Alright, now let's move on to the scoreboard. The location lasted 3 or 4 years, with 6 dead kids and 1 unconfirmed and forgotten dead kid. An adventure occurring at the flip side, mimics out of control, an evil creature being born, a broken man with nothing left to live for, and a purple guy wanting more. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and yeah, see you on the flip side.